I want the glorious, like.
Is this alcohol free?
It is alcohol free.
Okay, good.
It is coconut bubble water.
Oh, nice.
But it's poured over ice cubes that I make out of my Roselle tea, where I put like moringa and lemon balm, but I also do a lot of honey in it.
Well, that sounds good.
How is it?
I love it. I fucking love coconut though too. I'm super biased.
I knew that about you.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, and I've been like gloriously drinking these because I'm going around in the world looking for something to feed that root chakra fire like all the time. So your cayenne stuff, I'm like,
you want some?
No, I don't. But I'm curious about the question because I love horseradish and I love wasabi. I'm like one of those people. I'm like,
have you had the wasabi radish?
I have.
Yeah, I grew some of those from rareseeds.com. They're green. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
They're freaking good.
Yes, I have had some of those.
Okay, I am sitting at Aislynn Campbell's table, which is one hell of a table to be sitting at, I must say, and I feel very privileged to be here, snorting cayenne. You know, this is the vibe that we're on today, drinking red drinks.
We are on fire. Cheers.
So we are coming back to the mics, and I'm a content creator. You're a content creator, both in different capacities. You have the experience with the podcast. Yeah. And I'm glad you're bringing me along for the ride. It's going to be fun.
Maybe you're bringing me along for the ride. I'm just figuring this shit
Strap
out
the fuck in on the same roller coaster, and we're down.
I love it.
Blindfolds are off. We're fucking ready. Okay. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then you should keep listening because there's going to be more and more, and we don't run out of energy or topics.
And we are some crazy, fiery homesteaders.
Yeah. And we're doing it solo, by the way.
I think women in the world are doing it solo. I mean, we're bringing our own eggplant to the party. Oh yeah. That's the reality. That's of what's happening.
We're growing our own cucumbers and eggplants, and we're, getting shit taken care of and done around the farm, which is good.
Very good. Speaking of getting shit done around the farm, I am in Roselle season.
Yes.
So had you had this experience before?
So I grew Roselle in Cedar Park.
Yeah.
And it did well in clay soil, actually, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Have you had that experience here?
Mine do really well here in the clay.
Mine was big. I mean, it was nice. Huge. And I made tea from it. I never sweetened it. And then I would condense it. I actually condensed it stovetop.
Yep. That's how I do it.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then I would just pour it in everything.
Yep. Yep. That's how I do it.
Yeah. But it was good. And it's a family in the same family as hibiscus, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's in the same family, the mallow family, right?
Okay.
So the mallow family is going to be cotton, okra, Turk's cap, hibiscus, like pretty much everything we can grow down here on the coast. It does grow in the clay. It does grow in the sand. It likes the flood drought. So if you keep it too wet or too dry, and it doesn't get enough water, basically. So you have to get out there and like flood drought your gardens pretty regularly. But it's definitely a tropical style plant or subtropical style.
It looks like it should be in War of the Worlds.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. But
does that
not
why
of
is
Earth.
That? Is it because it's okay.
You know what I'm saying? It looks like a sci-fi plant.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. You should see it, you guys. And as a matter of fact, like the colors of the harvest right now are immense, and they are very I have learned so much from the garden.
Yeah.
It's unreal because we're talking about 25 years of like paying attention and starting to think about it. Why? Because of my kids, right? And then we're talking about 15 to 20 years already like trying these things out and planting this and that. And then 15 years of teaching. And then, now I'm like 7 years into my own business of like teaching people how to do this and that and the other. I've done it from 4 different like pieces of land, and you're watching what grows here. And you're watching the colors of the seasons. And I can tell you exactly where every single one of our holiday color schemes has come from.
I understand.
Where like everything we ever needed to know about what exists in this world comes from just sitting in the garden and like watching it occur.
What's the color of the season right now?
Orange and yellow, but the reds, the burgundies, So, and then that takes us into, okay, so in most of the world, this is it's the harvest season. For us, it's harvest into planting season as well.
Right, that's right.
So we're doing everything right now, which is, pretty much, I mean, it's how it works, but it's just split up in different seasons, I think, for us than it, so, but we're in the dying season, essentially. Right?
The second dying season.
We're in the fall. Okay, wait, say that, like, explain that to me, the second dying season.
So my experience of learning how to garden was in Austin, which, thinking that it's only 2.5 hours away makes it feel like it shouldn't be such a drastic climate change, but it's totally different.
It's because, you and me are different even, because I'm so close to the water.
And I was not prepared at all for the learning curve that is the coastal Bend area. Especially being on the west side of Alice, I get just enough of a freeze to kill things.
Right.
But it's like a snap frost, right? And then it's gone.
Yeah.
So bananas, your
frost.
tropical stuff's not going to do well. But some things do okay with a little help. So what I've learned is that you can grow anything you want here. It's how much effort do you want to put into it?
Well, and is it sustainable? Is the way I handle that, right?
Right.
Is it actually sustainable? That's really,
is it
important
worth it?
to me. Exactly. Is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Yeah. And so I say second dying season because it gets hot as hell, and then you get that little die off in January or the beginning of February. I think is when it's been happening for us. So I usually just get too fucking hot and I'm like, okay, you take it. You know what, nature, you can just fucking have it. And whatever survives till October, I'll nurse it back to health.
That is
which Swiss chard, by the way, has gone unwatered now for 90 fucking days and it is still kicking it, dude. And I'm like, hell yeah, Swiss chard.
Ford Hook, just
it's
green
the green stalk, yeah.
Ford Hook is really good for that.
Oh, now I know that. So that'll be something that went straight to the top of my list. I was like, I'm gonna fucking tattoo this shit on me, and I will have a green stalked Swiss chard tattoo momentarily, guys. Okay, because that is a survivor. Let me tell you.
Yeah, they are. I've exactly that variety. I've had that same success with. So and then where do I take this? Right,
wherever you want.
The colors of the Swiss chard, that alone, right? We're talking about colors. We're talking about the dying off season. And yes, there are 2 dying off seasons for us, which is probably the most challenging part about growing down here,
right?
Because it takes you 120 days to grow certain types of things.
Yes.
And do we have 100 or 120
in a
days
row, right,
of the right temperatures? And that's challenging for us. But I feel certain that we can figure it out, and I do, because I'm figuring it out.
You said one time to me something that changed the way that I approach my property. I don't even think you know this. So one of those things I snack on the way home as I'm letting it marinate in my brain. One of those things. Yeah. Which was the key to success is creating microclimates.
That's okay. So my brain, as you were talking to me a minute ago, my brain went like 12 different ways. It's like, oh, the colors, oh, death, oh,
yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. You have to create microclimates, and this is the permaculture way. Right? The permaculture way is that
working with nature. Yeah.
Yes. And then you're like, but also not just working with nature, absolutely always working with nature, but also you're working with how do you want things to move through your property, and you're using your property. So like if you look at a permaculture map, they're going to tell you like right around your house is where you're going to put your herbs, and then that's where you're going to put your like kitchen garden, and then maybe if you're going to do
that's
bigger
old school
crops,
pioneer style.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have your orchard further out, and then you're going to have, whatever. But around your home, you've got all these like farmscaping, like fence lines and all of these certain types of things. And every single one of those is going to help you out with shade and wind blocking
right.
and moving wind and moving water and, you know, all those things. So you create a microclimate,
right.
and you start to build things that grow the warmth and the keeping the moisture and all of the things that you need.
Right.
My backyard garden is going to be a full-fledged food forest someday, and there will be some tropical trees growing some tropical fruit back there eventually.
Is this east?
But it's this is yes, because that's
it's kind of east that?
No, that's southeast.
Okay.
That's north. That's west. That's east. So we're like, that's southeast.
North is this way?
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So my stuff comes up like.
Right.
No, that's east. Now I'm confusing my damn self.
Okay,
that's
this is east, right? Yeah. Because I was thinking, like, I'm usually really fucking good at this, but hold on a second.
No. My fucking, you're gonna ask me something on the mic, really important. Ask me Ask me how to do 2 + 2. By the way, I've heard that 2 + 2 is actually 5.
It's whatever you want it to be. Perception is reality.
Exactly. Essentially, that's what we're doing. We're using our fence lines. We're using everything to block wind, to create some kind of shade,
yeah.
you know, and to create a place where you can create a bit warmer, where you can hold more water. And then you start to, you don't have so much trouble with all of these dying off seasons. But the natural flow, even when you look at how trees drop their leaves, all the things, the natural flow of even our climate is winter, spring, summer, fall. We see that here, even though we still see high 90-degree temperatures in February, and we have all of these.
Today there was a shift.
There was absolutely a shift today,
and I think that you and I both picked up on that. We're like,
yeah. So all of that stuff, our seasons tell us that we are coming to the end of the season. We're having the final harvest. We're having the death of this. We're having death. That's what's happening. We're putting things to bed. Now, with human technology and daylight hours and all the things that we have done, we actually will go ahead and create another bumper crop. I've found that our bumper crop is actually amazing and beautiful this time of year. And so we push through, and we grow marigolds, and we grow all these beautiful celosias and the roselles, and we still grow more peppers, lots of peppers. My God, we grow so many peppers. We can even grow tomatoes at certain times of year for this time of.
I saw a lot of people selling tomatoes recently, and I was going to ask you about that on this.
Yeah, you can have tomatoes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Right. As a matter of fact, I had fantastic tomatoes all the way till the first freeze last year.
Wow.
What I've learned is I have to focus my attention, which of course this is what farmers did. Right. You have to focus your attention on what actually is working and selling and, whatever. And so to try to get tomatoes back in the ground and to hope that they actually produce again this time of year, you got to get them in the ground at the beginning of September.
I don't really like tomatoes.
Yeah. I'm fine either way.
I don't like, well, I mean, it's funny, us growing food. What foods do you not like that are like the go-to for most gardeners? Because I fucking hate tomatoes and I do not like cucumbers.
I'll eat. I mean, I'm lazy about greens, lettuces.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I don't really like a lot of like collards.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
But like everything else,
I'm a big juicer, so that's the only reason I started growing greens.
Yeah.
This is for juicing.
That I'm lazy about greens. Like you got to wash that lettuce and I don't know why.
Fuck that.
Means I got to clean my whole kitchen.
Throw it to the chickens.
I'm so OCD. I can't have a dirty kitchen with clean lettuce.
Oh, that's
so
me
it's like
too.
The entire
and I bake for markets, so I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my God. Every time I have a market for 2 days, well, for the 2 days leading before the market, I'm baking, but the day before that, I'm prepping for surgery in my kitchen. You know that. I mean, I am sanitized.
That's right.
There is a gallon of vinegar being used before every single market in my house.
There you go. See, now you know that I'm weird. It's good that we're weird like that. It's good that we have that compulsiveness. Yes, exactly. So this time of year we're bringing in all those colors of the Dia de los Muertos, and I thought that would be a really good topic for today because of the work that we do and how I get to see it, but also because there's been a lot of conversations, and one of the things that we have been, our conversations between the two of us have been about spirituality, our beliefs, and God and religion and spirituality, all of that stuff. And
we can touch on that if you'd like to. Maybe your feeling, like your communication with God and like your spiritual side.
Oh,
Because I feel like, man, you got an interesting take, and I've heard tidbits of it off camera, and I'm like, no, that needs to be on the podcast.
Well, the simplest way to explain what I believe in is I don't believe in separation.
Okay.
That's the simplest way to believe, but that's really hard to explain because it's so much bigger than that.
Okay, yeah.
And there's 1,000 stories that I can go to. I can go to all the stories and I explain things. Like currently I keep telling people, we're coming back to the garden. I was raised in the Methodist Christian religion. I actually taught as a young adult ministry coordinator leader. I taught Sunday school. I taught disciple Bible studies. I mean, I did all the things.
At what ages?
That was as an adult.
Oh, wow.
Like
okay.
In my 20s.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this stuff has been, but I've been extremely spiritual and philosophical.
So you're very like educated in it.
I'm very well read.
Right. Yeah.
I read and read and read. And when I was younger, before we got these fancy little like scrolling machines, not rolling machines.
The whole world in our hands.
Yes, exactly. I actually used to read a lot of books. Yeah. Well, maybe it's this. How many years did we sit there with a tit right. on our breast? Or
being held hostage.
Yes.
Via the tit.
The babe, you know? And so if we had the babe on us, well, then we were reading a book or...
High five to breastfeeding, by the way. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. I love dropping in those old story, like those groups, and there'll be moms talking about some stuff and I'll say like, I don't know, I got a 26-year-old and a 21-year-old and they're healthy as fuck. And I did this, this, and this.
That's right.
And it's just my opinion. Just one person's opinion.
Come at me now.
All.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
So to touch on the religious background, it's funny, you know, I for the most part, I think we agree. Yeah. And I think that on the little, maybe, but there's nothing really, okay, like on the things that we don't agree on, I would consider them very minor in like the scope of like theology, but even then I don't really know of anything.
So you can believe in anything you want to believe in, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. I said that
because the bigger picture stuff, I think you and I are right on the fucking money. And I came from a totally different background as you. I was raised in a very Austinite, staunch liberal, atheist environment. Asking my parents if God was real, my dad laughing and saying, "Of course not. God is something for stupid people that are afraid." You know, and I just me just being a little kid, like, oh, well, that sucks. Like, you know, then why do I have the instinct to pray? And like, you know, like, and it was kind of like this weird thing because I was like really wanting God to be real. Instinctually, I felt like, no, you're
getting called to it.
Yeah.
You ran around in your bare feet outside. Something told you there was something there.
Right.
Like you could feel it.
Yeah.
And you're a Leo. I'm telling you, that fire, man, that fire tells us there's God.
Well, God always shows up as a lion that's like surrounded by flames, you know, in you know, Aislynn and Narnia and all these different things. But it's funny because like the truth shall set you free. And I think that people like you and I, we really like freedom.
Oh, I can only exist in that.
Yeah, right.
I can only, and it's caused me a lot of trouble in life, but I can only exist in freedom. But then I began to understand that freedom wasn't exactly it. Sovereignty was it. And that's a complete release, a complete detachment.
Well, that is freedom. That's the ultimate freedom.
Absolutely.
To be a sovereign.
And the only way that you can do that, as I see it, in enough, and actually live life without having complete anxiety all the time, is to be aware of that you're not separate, to be aware of your connectedness to all that is, and to begin to offer yourself grace because you recognize that there isn't anything that isn't connected to you. Like to try to be like so spiritually aligned and trying to be so doing the bypassing and all that stuff, that I don't have that. It doesn't feel like that anymore to me. Like I'm in it now and I get it and I can feel it. And it's funny because somebody asked me, well, what's up lately? Or what's up new lately? And I go, I don't know. It's just been very enlightening. And they go, what do you mean? And I go, literally what I said.
Yeah.
I'm just extremely enlightened. You know, I just recently did a workshop here. I had a great turnout for it.
Really?
It was a huge success in terms of the conversation. So I want to do more, and I can tie it into practicality, which is mycelium, the mushroom, how it affects our body, how it affects our health, how it affects our spirit, how it affects, you know, and also if I begin to start saying, the truth is that I know that my voice is one of the most important things about me, and that I've begun to heal the part of me, the lineage that has been wounded. The voice was wounded for me. The stomach was wounded, and sacral, the womb. The womb was wounded, and so I had to work through some of that stuff. But I got really, really like adamantly, kind of angry this week about some religious, dogmatic, fundamental leaders that were coming out against Halloween and Dia de los Muertos.
We can talk about that if you want to.
Yeah. So because
Dia de los Muertos, but we could also touch on All Hallows Eve.
Right. So it's all, to me, it's all the same, right? Because we're talking about
a season.
Yeah, we're talking about a season. We're talking about the season in the garden. That's why that's why I was like, the colors of the garden. You can see the things in the garden. And one of the things I've been saying a lot too lately is that a lot of your masters, a lot of your teachers, they used growing, they used gardening, they used plants, right? But part of the reason why they use that is because they lived that life, and they lived with people that lived that life. And so they could use, the people that are using those terms right now are not living those lives.
Right.
They don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
It's kind of starting to piss me off because they're using it in the wrong way, and they're hurting what the original message was. I'm sorry to get like passionate about it, but like,
don't apologize,
dude. Like, don't tell me
this is
things
what we are
about,
here for, Aislynn.
Don't tell me things about how we draw our spirit from the land and from, and that's not a way that they would say it, but like that's what Jesus was teaching us, and then go on to tell me that we're afraid of death, and we're afraid of demons, and we're afraid of monsters, and we're afraid of, and so the conversation,
we should have that conversation.
It's so adamant to me that we are protective of death as a, you've heard me say it 1,000 times now, and I'm going to keep saying it's probably going to come up on every podcast. When you enter into life, when you become crowned with the glory of life, you enter into a marriage contract with death.
A covenant.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So
that's what it is.
Why are our preachers and our teachers and our leaders who are teaching us how to go to heaven to be afraid of heaven or death?
Okay.
Or whatever.
I'll speak on that if you don't mind, because I have little children right now.
Okay.
And I'm not a fan of Halloween for what it is for some people.
Oh, if you're talking about the consumption value of
I'm talking about blood, guts, gore.
Yeah, but that's
horrific. And that stuff. And I'm just like, okay, because, I'll give you a really good, clear example without using anyone's names. I used to know this girl whose dad died in a very horrific, gruesome way. Mm-hmm. But it was like a month before Halloween. And then on Halloween, here she is. Almost like
living it out.
But also not drawing a line. Like this thing that hurts you more than anything else that's ever happened in your whole life. And here you are celebrating it.
So I
saw it like that. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of saw that with everyone else. That changed my perspective on Halloween. And that was actually before I had children. But I don't really like Halloween for the blood, the gore, the guts, and all of that. But I understand what you're saying with, if we're in a covenant with death, which we are, since we left the garden, technically. The truth is that the whole earth is a garden, but there's a portion of the garden that is immune to thistles and thorns, and we're not in that part anymore. Now we're in the thistle and thorn garden, which is okay. But we're also in the garden where you die.
I'm in the garden.
Yeah.
I don't know where everybody else is anymore. But,
well, that's true. Maybe not everybody's in the garden.
I'm just sitting there saying,
you might be in a concrete jungle, 23 feet in the air.
But you out there, I don't know. I've been inviting y'all back, but nobody's listening.
Right. Well,
that's not
they
true.
might be listening now.
There are a few people listening.
Yeah, but that part of it I don't like. But I want my kids, like, for example, when an animal dies, they really haven't experienced the death of a human being yet. Mm-hmm. Other than my grandmother. My son, my oldest, was like 10 when she died. He kind of got a taste of that, like knowing someone that's not here anymore, but my younger ones, no one close to them really has ever died though, like a direct grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, thank God, but they will experience this at some time. And I want them to take it in strides the way that I did, because when my grandmother died, who is my favorite person in the world, I was like almost relieved.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it, actually.
Well, it was also 2020, and I was like, this world is
Yeah, there's that too.
One more person I don't have to get through the apocalypse.
Maybe imagine being me and having the feeling that thank God you died. I bet you feel better now. Like honestly, I literally wrote a poem about that. Yeah. Thank God for death.
So I'm okay with that. It's the gore and the blood and the guts and the violence that I don't like. And I don't want my kids to be exposed to that.
Okay, well, so here, this is perfect. You are literally lining up the conversation.
Let's go.
Because the thing is that what I want to talk out with people is I don't watch horror.
I don't either.
Now, I watch life. I'm not afraid of death. Right. And I watch stories like Midsummer, which the same director. I did this the last time. I can never remember.
It's like Ari something.
Yes. Dang it. I hate it when I do that. But anyways, he's also done Hereditary. He also did
yes.
Phil Eddington. Sorry. I'm sorry for
and
the movie
Witch,
people.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. No.
Is that not him?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Which is
Ari Aster or something?
Ari Aster.
That, okay.
That's who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe he did do Witch. I don't know. I have to go back and look. But the thing that I love about, and I'm a cinephile for sure. I'm really into movies, and it's got to have a really good return on investment. I'm not afraid to watch death. I will not watch you perpetrate horror and monsters and demons and slasher porn and all of these different types of things. But I don't believe in monsters.
I got you.
And every single time I get into this conversation with people are like, no, there are monsters out there. And I'm like, I believe you see monsters. I believe you are watching this fucking Ed Gein, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I know.
What the? Okay, we are talking about being afraid of monsters as a society, human monsters as a society, and we're letting Netflix make money off of this.
I know.
Off of a movie where and not only do they're glorifying it. I haven't even watched the movie. I would never.
They keep casting even the hot guys to be these horrible people.
These trailers that they're showing to me where and then this beautiful woman, and I mean, so we are creating monsters, but I won't let you call them monsters or devils or demons because you're taking away their humanity, which says that is real.
Yeah.
We created that. Mm-hmm. We are participating in that. And the thing is that because I'm so visionary, I have been able to watch us create the monster we made in a movie.
Right. I get that.
I've watched it happen. And if I go into a movie and a movie makes me sick to my stomach and a little bit gaggy and my shoulders are up around my ears the whole time, it actually doesn't matter what it's about.
Right.
I'm not interested in it because that's not for me. That's not good for me. It's not good for my nervous system. I'm saying all that saying, I have a hard line. A hard what's acceptable line about what types of things we should and shouldn't be doing. I can even tell you that I have boycotted and will boycott the entire season that begins with Halloween, which is sugar consumption and plastic garbage crap.
That's the main part I hate for my children.
Instead of buying beautiful colored flower arrangements from your gardener next door to put on your ofrendas and to put at your dinner tables and to put at your holiday celebrations, you go to the big box stores and you buy a bunch of plastic garbage to decorate everything with.
Trash.
Right? Made of the same colors that I'm literally growing fresh and beautiful and alive in my backyard. And then the leaders of certain communities are going to come out and tell me that the idea of celebrating the original intention of certain holidays and certain reverent time periods for life and culture are demon worshiping. I see this world as being so convexed. Is that the right word?
You know what? Two things came up just now when you were talking, which was, I think what you're trying to say, and or at least in a way, by proxy, this was the message that was being delivered, which was Halloween has been hijacked.
Well, of course it's been hijacked.
Okay, and maybe that's the problem is that I reject things that have been hijacked. Okay,
everything's fucking been hijacked.
Right. So because now it's about the candy. and the plastic costumes and the trash and the total lack of care for resources. Just, I get that. Okay.
And in the meantime,
and then the gore, which is not needed in death, because if you think about how would you like to die? I would like to die 95 years old in my sleep.
That's right.
With plans tomorrow.
Anytime. Fuck, I'll die tomorrow in my sleep. That's okay by me. I'll be an amazing martyr, by the way.
I want to have totally gray hair all the way down to my ass.
Oh, I could have gray hair right now if I wanted it.
Me too. Well, I have some actually. No, but I want to experience being old. I actually crave the experience
Grandkids would be pretty cool.
Great grandkids would be pretty cool.
Oh, my grandmother's had great grandkids.
Yeah. So I think, and I have never been one of those people that's been scared of aging. So far, my life has only gotten better.
Yeah.
And the thing is because my mind has gotten better.
Saggier. These hormones.
Vitamin C.
Okay. Girl. I'm going to start following your rules.
Carnivores, they make their own vitamin C. Crazy. We do not do that. We're the opposite. Scurvy, right? What happens when we don't get enough vitamin C? We fucking die, because vitamin C is the most important nutrient above all. Okay. And the reason I say that is it plays a lot of roles in our body. Vitamin C will have a lack because, in my opinion, we should be getting a shitload of vitamin C every day, all day long. So liposomal vitamin C is a fat-coated, lecithin-coated, fat-soluble, I guess I should say, vitamin C. The absorption of like regular vitamin C is like 30%. Okay. Liposomal vitamin C is like 80.
Okay.
So I take 5,000 milligrams every single day.
Okay.
Now it's also the greatest cancer prevention that you can have. It's protecting cellular health.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you want your cells to be happy,
right,
and dividing equally. And when they go rogue,
we're regenerating.
Yes. And you need your white blood cells to have the full armor of God, okay, so against everything that they're dealing
with the devil saying that we're having a full
and so they have a lot of jobs, you know. And one of them is Border Patrol. Okay, let me see your fucking papers. Oh, you don't belong here, and shoot them right in the head. That would be to a cancer cell, right? And the only thing, by the way, that's ever killed a cancer stem cell is a white blood cell. Just Google that.
The only thing that's ever killed it. Yeah,
everything. Well, cancer stem
cells set it on fire, basically.
Cancer stem cells are not affected by chemotherapy of any kind. This is a fact. You need to Google this, because they will not tell you this in any oncologist office. They'll say, oh, yeah, well, your tumors are shrinking. Yeah, well, what about all those fucking rogue cells that don't need a tumor to be attached to or a blood supply to go take root in your liver? Because those are going to go fucking buck wild. And now while you're nuking the tumor cells, you're also nuking your immune system. I'm going on a tangent. Sorry.
It's okay.
You tapped in and I can't pull back. But anyways,
talk about God.
Vitamin C.
She'll talk about God in the body.
It's the tree of life.
There you go.
And I guarantee you that in that fruit is a shitload of vitamin C.
I want it.
And I also think that I did a whole thing on this on TikTok. I don't even know if it's even posted still. But I started going through what were some of and my audience, whenever I talk about Christianity, which I hate using that word, but whenever I talk about the Bible, I really want to talk to atheists about it. People that love fucking science, because I love science. Okay. Right. And I've been where they're at. People that are already Christian, already sold on whatever bullshit they've been sold on. I don't care. This is not a conversation for you. I'm trying to talk to the people that love facts and science and want real something tangible. Right. To lead them on their spiritual journey, because I was one of those people too.
Well, you're also talking about people that have actually studied the Bible, like people that have studied the Bible, the history of the Bible, like not just people that have read the Bible and listened to somebody preach to them about what the Bible says.
Right. But the concept of the tree of life is in there in all forms, by the way. Dead Sea Scrolls, everything. And that's profound, which was it was a fruit that could sustain you forever. Mm-hmm. So really what that fruit was doing, I know. I'll try to keep the tangent short, but every single time that your cell divides, the chromosomes in all of your cells and parts of your cell are weaker than the last. Okay. You lose the ability in your 820s to regenerate at the same speed. Okay. And so it's by a nanoparticle, but it is there. Okay. And I think it's like terpenes or it's something like that. That's the part of the damage that starts being done every time your cell divides, which is often. Right. It doesn't do it quite as well as the last time. Now this is very small and incremental. Okay. So anyways, there's lots of things and lots of amino acids that can slow that process down. One of them is like polyphenols. Okay. It's actually any biblical fruit, figs, pomegranates, olives, all of those have profound ingredients in them that I think are probably also in the tree of life fruit.
Right.
Okay.
That's epigenetic original coding is what I would have to say about that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the concept of could there be a fruit that stops the aging process? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that really, it stops the decline of regeneration, which is programmed in all of our cells.
Right.
We are programmed to age.
Right.
And we have always been programmed to age, but there was a remedy for that.
Right.
And we no longer have access.
We just forgot. So now we're remembering. That's it.
And there's a way, but you know what? Biblically, they were living into their hundreds, hundreds and hundreds of years old.
Of course.
Yeah. And slowly now, I think the average age to die in America is like 76.
Yes, it is. And that's insane. Right. And so amongst all of these other conversations, that's a huge within this conversation about the season. Exactly. That's my point, is that like I've gone down this trail of the doula, the death doula, I've held the hands of people. I've been there for it. And I've done a lot of work on detachment. I meditate on my children passing. I meditate on different people dying. I meditate on impermanence. I actually do almost monthly a workshop out here, or an art meetup. Workshop's a terrible way to call it, because everything for me is a wonderful conversation, a stroll around the farm, and then we're going to eat some good food. And what we're doing,
damn good food at that. Let me just say that
it is so good. Like it actually is. Like I'm okay to completely brag about how beautiful the vegetables are.
Yes.
The way I cook them doesn't even matter, actually. Right. It's just the beauty of the vegetables. And so I have these folks come out here, and they do it's called a natural mandala making art workshop, right? But the idea of it is the art of impermanence. And what it is that I want people to face death in regular conversations. So I'm talking about it all the time. And recently I wrote a piece where I'm saying, think about being Interview with a Vampire, whatever the hell that guy's name was.
Brad Pitt?
Yeah, Brad Pitt, but the vampire guy, Lestat, or who those guys, the vampires, right? Imagine being immortal. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't think that, I look at life right now and I'm like, well, life would have to be a lot better than this for me to want to be immortal and continue to keep doing this.
Have you seen Twilight? The Twilight movies?
Yes, I
When
did.
the oldest vampire is about to get his head ripped off because that's the only way to kill him, he goes, finally. Or he's like, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank
God. Yeah. So I'm like, to me, I think we're born, we're crowned at birth, and then we know we have the breath of death coming. You know what I mean? We made the Reaper. Like, I've been doing a deep dive into death in a way that I like, and I have been, because I there's something about me, and now we're in Scorpio season, right? But I've been like, hey, why are we calling it's the Reaper? What does the Reaper do? The Reaper is the harvest.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
Do you see that every single thing? So here I am trying to explain to people that all you have to do is come back to the garden, and you can see how to begin to give yourself the relief.
So you mentioned the mandala making. You should go more into that, and I can say my experience with it. So what she's talking about is going around her garden and picking very profoundly beautiful plants of different colors. You get flowers, you can get different shaped leaves.
Oh, you made one with us at the women's retreat. That's right. Okay.
And you put this like beautiful thing together, but the message is it's not going to last.
That's right. It's going to rot. It's going to die.
You're leaving it here on the ground.
Yeah. And this last one that we just did, they pulled bones, and like, there was one pair left on the tree, and I watched it break down. I watched stuff grow up around and underneath it. So because of the location that we did it at, and because I would just have become aware, because now I've done it 3 or 4 times,
right? It's
like, this is a real thing that we can begin to show. And then it takes me into these catastrophic events that are happening. So this summer we had this major flood up in the central Texas part of our part of our country. Like, what the fuck? Up in our river system area of Texas, in the central part of Texas, we had this massive flood. Yeah. And in the midst of that massive flood, we lost a lot of people.
Children.
children, but like families in entire, like their entire trailer got buried by 30 inches of mud, you know, things like that. And yes, there were like summer camps,
and it was a flash flood, by the way.
Well, and this is how it happens
Texas
up there.
is no joke.
Right. That's right. And we do. I mean, that's the thing, is that this types of thing happens. It's not even. I mean, it was probably 10 years ago when the Wimberley flood happened, and we lost literally families, same, you know, groups of families.
I was there during that. Did you know that?
You were
I was there the next
Wimberley?
day. Yeah. My husband's grandparents lived on the Blanco River. Mm-hmm. On the river.
Well, I wasn't there the next day, but we have that same situation. Yeah. People that live right there on the river, and I was there like right after it happened.
Yeah, we got there the next day, and the refrigerator was in their living room.
Yep.
Where it had floated out. There was a watermark about 8 feet high on all the walls. Yep. And the only reason that they survived, well, I can tell the quick story because this is interesting. This is a good story. They actually had a landline phone, and that's the only reason that they're alive. Because they had a landline phone, and they had the old system in place to call everybody. Flash flood, get to higher ground now. Mm-hmm. And so they're asleep. You know, it's in the middle of the night. That was another thing, is both of these floods happened at nighttime. Yep. So it's not like oh, it's raining, let me watch the river. No, like you wake up and you're in water.
Crazy thing that happens in Texas is we get these crazy thunderstorms in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the night.
Right. Because it, you know, and everything compounds here in Texas, which is the temperature difference between night and day is profound, and that is gasoline to a fire when it comes to storm. Okay, so the cool down, it's like, you know, it just comes in. It. Yeah. So anyways, they get their phone's ringing in the middle of the night. No one has this number. They have cell phones.
Yes.
So she's like, what the hell? And she swings her feet off of the bed to answer the phone and steps in water.
Oh, yeah.
And then she was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Answers the phone, and it's just over and over. Get to higher ground now. Flash flood, flash flood. So she goes to wake her husband up. By the time he gets around to the bed, it is up to their knees. By the time they get to their hallway, they're in waist deep water. He falls, hits his head, and gets knocked unconscious. These people are 80 years old. She's able to pull the string for the attic and get his unconscious body into the attic with her.
God, let me handle this. That's what happened in that moment. Yes.
And they ended up in the attic with about a foot of space between the top of the attic peak and their heads. And they lived. And they got rescued around 5 a.m. via axe through the side of their roof. Because the water had gone down at that point to where I saw the watermark. Now, there was watermarks all over the fucking place, but where it stayed was 8 feet in their house for hours. And we're talking about the Wimberley is a very interesting place climate-wise, too, because a lot of cedar trees.
Yes.
So cedar, in case you don't know about cedar trees, they bark over, but the bark is constantly peeling.
Yep.
And if you peel it, it's red underneath. It's like an orange. All the trees were bright orange, and that was the first thing. I mean, I felt like I was on the set of a horror movie.
Yes. Okay.
There was
this
trees.
Is where I was going.
Yeah. It was unreal. I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know, because these cedar trees also big root system
and then
on these trees.
The root system comes.
So the trees are up out of the ground and stripped. So you have these bright orange. What the fuck am I looking at? You know, trees, roots. No leaves, no bark.
Trees ripped in half where you can actually see the,
Imagine how fast water must be rushing for that to happen.
It's unbelievable when these things come through and entire house is floating down the river. Yeah. And so the reason I bring this back to the death conversation is that as a naturalist, as an environmentalist, as someone that is as grounded in as I am, I look at every bit of these types of situations and I see the trauma that occurs with weather, but I also see what comes right after this type of thing.
Right.
It rips through and then you see the green sprouts that start coming up. I mean, immediately they'll start coming up. And one of the things that people talked about up in the area that we're actually working up there during they were looking for people's bodies and lives and you know, things like that. There was a story I heard about a guy that saw a daisy, like who knows whether the story is real or not in today's world,
Might
but
be.
I'm telling you that people understand that message, right? So a fire rips through California, and then 5 days later, green sprouts start coming up.
Right.
A flood rips through central Texas or whichever part of the world we're having floods in, right? And right after that starts to happen, of course, number one, you get to see the calamity and the death that actually occurs to plants. And you can see where it looks like they're actually in a horror film. Well, like you said, you can see life and death in these spaces. And then you begin to have the connection with the energy and God and everything that is. You see that you don't get to be in control of the challenges of life, but you get to see the opportunity. You get to have the regeneration. You get to have the healing. You get to have the life that comes after. And life feeds on life, feeds on life. I think that's how Tool said it. Like,
yes, that's pretty good.
I'm pretty obsessed with this. I really am.
Yeah,
I've been deep diving.
a perfect circle.
Yeah, and the thing is that my belief in spirituality is a beautiful cycle and a circle, and my belief in life is a perfect, beautiful cycle, and so I think that it is. It is damaging to your human audience to teach them to be afraid of death.
Yeah.
To teach them to be afraid of monsters.
Well,
to teach that it's damaging to do that. What it's not damaging to do is to tell the truth about how these things occur. You won't be able to stop them, but while you're living through them, you can see that there are always like the rainbows.
Okay,
right?
so I think what you're trying to say, and you are saying it, is that like, okay, imagine only showing up the day after a natural disaster and then never going back.
Right.
But
and I'm sure there are a lot of people that do that.
Right, so then that's their take on it.
Right.
It's all destroyed, it's dead forever.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. That's not the story. But also there's lessons to learn from the plants there, which is really they're unfazed. They're right back to business the next day.
They are. And everything's alive. And there's more things alive on top of that. And that was me, making that Kundalini to mycelium connection. And that is that the mushrooms are going to come in and save it. The mushrooms are going to literally come in and save, and more life is going to grow, and life comes in after that. And when you bring yourself back to the garden, you become enlightened.
Yeah,
you just
but
do.
You can't not.
I can't not.
I know.
And I dug in, and I understand that there was I have a lot of practice. I think there's a savant nature to me that has to do with the garden and the way I process things that occur out there. But I think I leaned into feeling and sensing what was going on around me. And because of that, I've learned about grace for death, and about attachment to reality. And it has given my heart a lot of relief.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that, and here's a great example of the reality of, it's not like, no one promised life was going to be easy.
Right.
We didn't promise it wasn't going to hurt, and we didn't promise we weren't going to lose people that we loved. Mm-hmm. Whether it's just a full-blown betrayal grief, or whether they actually died. I sometimes I wonder which one's worse. But I'm in the back in the garden the other day, and I'm out there, and I actually work in the garden very quiet most of the time. I find that it's a habit to be quiet more than it is to turn a bunch of noise on.
Well, it's probably because you're not really being quiet here.
No, I'm never
right.
quiet.
So it's like,
no, I have to learn how to turn all the noise off, and stuff like that. And I heard my dad's been working on a project, and I have been listening to my daddy hammer and sitting underneath him, looking up at him hammering for 47 years. I'm going to be 47 in a few weeks.
Yeah.
47 years I've been listening to that man. He's 70 years old, and he's up on top of a roof with some metal tin in Corpus Christi, and the wind is going 16 miles an hour. And I hear the tin crash. And I take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And I get up. And I didn't hear the word fuck come afterwards. So that's the next thing. You have to hear him like just cussing at himself for dropping the tin or whatever he was doing. And I walk around and I see that there he is. And I'm like, okay. And then I go back to, because the reality is that I'm going to lose people on this earth and in this lifetime while I'm still alive.
Yes.
That is going to be devastating to me. Like, I'm attached. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not so self-centered that I'm not aware of the idea that my ego is attached to things.
Do you keep a running tab of things you can't wait to tell people when you see them again? I do.
No, I think I just vomit like an autistic kid. And I don't keep a running tab because it's already happened. Like, my brain is keeping a running tab. I'm not... There you go. Yeah. I'm just going to vomit it at you really fast.
Yeah. Because, like, since my grandmother has died, which my grandfather died when I was 19. He died looking into my eyes. That was a very, like on a hospital bed. He didn't want to look at anyone else in the room. He was just staring at me. And even as a very immature brat, 19 guys.
19-year-olds are brats, by the way.
God,
I know this.
I was awful.
I had 4
I was
of
awful.
them.
I had the worst boyfriend in the world. Anyways, my instinct was smile at him. He's dying and this sucks. So I just smiled at him, and I must have looked fucking insane to everybody else in that room because no one else was on that vibe. Everybody else is, oh my God. And I was just like, you guys, that's his last second here before he wakes back up. So I just smiled at him. Wasn't crying. And I just said, it's going to be fine. You're going to be okay.
Please,
and
God.
then he died. Amen. Right after that.
Amen. You offered him what he needed.
Right.
That's doula shit right
But that's
there.
also like, I feel like it's weird because I'm so different than I was when I was 19. But that part of me was always there.
Yes,
and
it was.
Me too. But I was suppressing it big time. But in that moment, I was like, "This is it."
That's right. That's the thing. Okay, so I'm so glad you said that because at births and at deaths, which meant that I hurried to births.
Right.
I hurried to my own births. I hurried to other people's births because I could see it there.
Right.
And then I started showing up and being this outstanding person at deaths, even as a very young person.
Right.
Like I showed up.
Yeah.
But I don't show up in the way, because we were talking about this earlier, I don't show up in the way that is like, I'm not devastated about you dying. I'm actually grateful that you're dying, because you dying is better than what you're doing now.
Yeah, right.
Most not.
If they're suffering, for sure.
You know, I've never been in a situation where, I've never seen anybody, because if there was some kind of a traumatic accident, the traumatic accident, they died, right?
Yeah.
Or I've watched them go through the trauma of dying because we don't allow it to occur in this gentleness.
Yeah.
I actually got to see, speaking of cancer, speaking of, all of the things that you were speaking of earlier, my grandmother, speaking of the voice chakra and lineage of my trauma in my family, my grandmother died of lung and throat cancer.
My grandfather had lung cancer.
It's horrible.
It is.
Hold on, hers was tongue and throat, and one of them was lung. I had a different grandmother that was lung, but that's still the same. It's all that like voice chakra stuff, right? But my grandmother,
really common in that generation,
right? Well, because they smoke and drank a lot, and also because we're breathing
what they really
the toxins we're breathing, but they weren't talking, and they weren't all
of it together.
All the things you're talking about, right? And
because for our generation, it's colon cancer, colorectal cancer, and also liver problems,
pancreas shit too, right?
Endocrine.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. Okay. So, but my grandmother, the day before so she decided not to do the cancer stuff anymore. She went up there, she talked to them, whatever, and she got a lot of support from family, because we'd already watched my aunt die of breast cancer and her go through all the things, because she was a young woman. She was in her 40s, and her daughter was still in high school. So she fought all the fights, right? We watched that happen, and we went, God, no. So she watched that happen for her daughter, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, she said, I'm just not going to. I've done what I was going to do, and I'm ready to be done, and I'm going to be done. And then the day before she died, she actually sat up on her bed and put her foot up on her bed and drank her Shiner Bock and, talked to her friends and then died the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I actually have had the opportunity to watch deaths occur.
Right.
And hers was the most beautiful death that I've seen of all the different deaths that I've seen occur because she chose
her terms.
That's right.
Right.
My other grandmother, who actually, hers wasn't a horrible thing, but like the last 10 years of her life, she had dementia so bad.
That's a bad one.
That she didn't know what the fuck was going on when she died.
Right.
And that scares me more than any of it does, in all honesty.
Well,
and I'm
save that for
I'm
a
most
different
like that, that's that, if we don't get out of the genetic or the epigenetic coding, that's the things that's going to happen with me. I'm going to be the one that makes the choice to just die with throat cancer, or I'm going to be the one that has dementia and dies at 90.
My take is that both of those things there's other ways.
Of course there is.
I can't say the C word that is CU are the band in the 80s.
On what?
The band 4-letter word starts with a C.
Oh yeah. Okay, what? But we'll go on.
You can't say that word. We'll get banned.
On anything?
With
like
the other C word. The two C words together, you can't put them together.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, because we'll get banned, just so you know. Okay. But anyways, there are other ways, is like how I like to say it, to deal with all things. We are a regenerative thing meant for regeneration.
Right.
Just like
our bodies are.
Yes. And if you think of cancer the same way that you would think of a flash flood, you can come back from that too.
Right.
It's gonna be, and you know what? You're probably gonna come back better.
Right.
Just like after a forest fire, know, when the fire burns through the forest, all of the minerals are left behind.
Right.
Minerals don't burn.
Right. This is what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah. So you're really just burning up all the carbon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're leaving the calcium, the phosphorus, and that's what stays behind. That's fertilizer.
That's biochar.
You know what I'm saying? So anyways, so right on with this, the hijacking of the season.
Yeah.
We have also hijacked the illness is a negative. It's not.
Right.
It's your body telling you something.
It's your signal.
It's a warning.
Absolutely. And the thing is that I know us well enough to know that I've already I had 5 different podcast episode concepts brought to the table today.
Right.
And
we have fixated on one.
Yeah. Embodiment is going to be like a continued effort. But a lot of times what you're going to find is that we're going to draw it back to whatever is like the trending conversation. And the trending conversation right now, number one, there's a huge trending conversation of recovering Christians talking to Christians.
Oh.
And that's who I would consider myself to be. So that's going to be a thread of trending conversation, certainly in my algorithms and in the world that I exist down here in South Texas. And of course, we're in the season of harvest. We're in the season of fall. The leaves are falling off. Things are dying in terms of the plants. We're in the season of horror stories and movies and all of that kind of stuff. We're in all of that season. So of course, that's what's going to come up the table today.
I really like everything we touched on here today. I think we covered death as a regenerative thing and a process and an agreement and a covenant. And I think that's I think we hit pretty much every point of death, it seems like.
All the things that I've certainly been talking about, and everything with me is going to go into the mind, body, spirit. I'm going to literally delve into the spiritual aspects of things and how it's all interlocking for me. I'm going to delve into how it affects my body, and related to the garden is going to be because that's all life, that's body, that's life. And then my mind is going to do an exploration as to words like reaper, I'm like, oh, we've got to go. You have to understand these words that
that's
we're
one of those
using
things that's going to haunt me, by the way, until I see you again, is the reaper thing, because I've never really thought of it as the harvester.
It's a harvester. That's all it's doing. Beautiful podcast.
Yes. It's been a beautiful time talking about death.
Yes. I love death. I do. I love
understand.
death, and I have some friends that are death doulas, and I'm not a death doula. But if anybody ever needs me to help, and I'm certainly going to help with my own family, of course. But if anybody ever needs me to help, and I definitely have a lot of experience with hospice, so. Let's do it.
I'm going to die in my 90s, but if you want to be there and stick around until then you can come to my death.
I will be there.
All right.
You're going to burn me in a funeral pyre. That's what's happening for me. So let's see you next time, friends. Thanks for joining us at the table.